All right, welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Now, just an update for you. The funeral service of one of South Africa's top diplomats, George Nene, will be held this coming Friday. You would remember that Nene chaired the SA Association of Former Ambassadors, and he also served with distinction in Nigeria as well as Switzerland. Nene also represented South Africa in the United Nations. Of course, now, as I said, his funeral taking place this coming Friday. All right, and now the much-anticipated motion of no confidence vote brought forward by the EFF against the mayor of the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, Athol Trollip, will take place today. The time for negotiations and talks has ended, and it's a crucial time for all political parties in that particular metro, with the small parties coming out as kingpins. It looks as though the DA's Athol Trollip will survive this motion, this, of course, with a boost of numbers, with assistance from some smaller parties that have already pronounced their support of the DA, such as your Patriotic Alliance. Supporters of the EFF and DA are expected to come out in their numbers this morning to show support for their municipal councillors at the City Hall. For more on this story now, let us cross live to our reporter, Iviwe Poti. Iviwe, good morning to you.
Well, a very good day to you. Good morning to you too, Palesa. We are here at the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro outside the council chambers. As you will remember, last time it was a bit chaotic in this council meeting that we will be sitting for again today. But I think, when we look at the broader perspective of things, we're going to speak to political analyst Jolene Steenkotzer, who's going to tell us, I think, Jolene, what's more important for me, specifically for the voters and your common citizens of the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. For the past 10 years, if I look at my research, we haven't had a mayor that actually completes their term at all. I mean, from Nondumiso Mapazi in 2009, she was replaced with Uzano Waile, he was replaced with Omben, he was replaced with Danny Jordan, but obviously because of the vote then, now we have a DA mayor, Athol Trollip. But when we look, what is it that the political parties aren't getting right in terms of running the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro?
I think a key consideration looking at the history of council over the last, let's say, decade or so, is that level of political instability that is created through using council chambers almost as a political theatre. Under the ANC ruling party, factional battles really played a large role, as most notably divides between the REC, political party structures, and then the administrative interface, which is council. And similarly, I think with these particular motions of no confidence that we see against the DA coalition executive could also be translated into a form of political theatrics to bring instability in governance.
And then when we look, this is the second time that the mayor as well as the speaker, there's a motion of no confidence put forward against them. The first time it was the Patriotic Alliance, seconded by the UDM, and now it's the EFF whom are getting support from the ANC. Why is it that we find ourselves in a situation in council where it's just so chaotic? I mean, we sat there for about 8 hours and nothing was discussed.
Again, I think it boils down to that political theatrics. And I think also with this particular situation, you are looking at smaller parties really flexing their political muscle. And I think they are trying to indicate to your larger parties, which is the ANC and the DA, that you really cannot move forward without us. So we need to see some benefit moving forward if the coalition is going to succeed.
And then, Jolene, just lastly, I think in terms of today, what are we expecting to see? I mean, some may say that the opposition parties, specifically the Black Caucus in council, doesn't actually want to vote. Maybe they're pushing for a hung council. Maybe they're pushing that we go into an election for the Metro again.
There are various scenarios that can play out, but I would say, that your opposition political parties will need to be strategic. The Nelson Mandela Bay municipality in particular has suffered a lot under defects in governance, under service delivery stagnation. So at some point in time, I think opposition parties will need to look at the broader political picture, noting that there is an election coming next year, and to what extent their behaviour within council might influence a vote or not a vote for the parties next year.
Thank you so much for your time, Jolene. Well, there we have it. Today's council meeting seemingly very important, not only because of the motion of no confidence against the Mayor Athol Trollip, but as well as in terms of the opposition political parties looking at the bigger and broader perspective of going into an election, their behaviour in council and how that translates to your citizens, whom then have to vote them in council again once we do go into elections. But for now, let's link to an ad break.